Hey gang, Bishop here. Today I'm going to show you how to convert this CAD model of a bike for the SACS project to a proper format PDF for the CNC router. So if I jump over to my engineering drawings, we're going to have some issues with this that are going to be presented on the CNC. So all these annotations, numbers, all these other views we have on here are going to get away once I get to the CNC router. The CNC router wants plain 2D vectors, so from this drawing, all I want is the outline of this rectangle. I would not want this other view. I would not want all this, because when I import this into VCarve, all this nonsense stuff is going to take the TEAs more time to get rid of, and it's just going to be wasting our time. And we want to show you guys how something would actually be manufactured in industry. So I want to just get this rectangle of that. If I go to another part, I want just this flat rectangle. I want the relevant faces. I do not want to say this rectangle. If I cut this rectangle out the CNC, that part isn't any part. It's not going to work for me. So I want this full thing. This part, this is our main body here. This is 1/2 inch plywood. So if you want anything thicker than 1/2 inch plywood, you're going to need to either laminate sheets together or make it by hand out of 2x4s. We're not. We will only be cutting plywood for you guys on the CNC router. So if I jump back to my CAD model, here's how we're going to look about formatting this for the CNC. So our CNC will cut 4 by 4 feet, no more. So if I have a part that's 5 feet across, if this was from here to here was 5 feet, I would not be able to cut that on the CNC. I'd have to figure out how to break that up into smaller sections, or I'd have to redesign my bike to make sure everything is under that 4-foot limit. So once I verify all my parts are less than 4 feet, or I've split my parts into parts that can be then rejoined to be that longer member if they have to be over 4 feet long, I can then look at my model, determine what all can be CNC'd and what cannot. So I know this side panel can be CNC'd. There's my part for that. So I'm going to make a little list on a sticky note. You guys can't see it on the video, obviously. So I'm going to write down bike frame. I'm going to need 2 of those because we have 1 of those on either side. If I look at my fork, I have 2 of these. I'm going to need 2 of those. So I'll write that down on my sticky note too. We have these little spacers in here to space out the fork. If you look, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have 12 of those. So I'm going to write down 12 of those on my sticky note. So we're going to CNC route 12 of those rectangles. And then if you guys look, we have some more squares just in here. We have 3 of those that are just active spacers for this. So we can cut those 3 rectangles on the CNC too. Just a quick note, if you notice, we do have more than just those 2 rectangles. These ones are a little beefier. I assume those are just to help supporting the wheel a little better. Those are more than 1/2 inch thick, so we cannot cut those on the CNC. But what we could do is, if this team had designed it in such a way, they could just design this as a thinner rectangle, and we just could have cut 2 of those on the CNC, laminate those together, and gotten that full thickness part. But for the sake of this video, I'm not going to bother breaking that into 2 parts. I'm just going to do the parts that are molded 1/2 inch. Same thing goes for the handlebar fork. This is 1.5 inch thick, so I assume that's going to be part of their 2x4. That could be CNC routed, this rectangle. Or an even better example is this handlebar. If you notice, this is a pretty complicated shape on here that might be a little tedious and hard to make by hand. So this could be a good candidate for CNC, but as this is 1.5 inch thick, they would have to cut 2 of these at 1/2 inch thick, or even 3 of them, to get the desired thickness they want here. So when you're looking at your own models, that's just something to consider, is how many sheets of plywood it takes to get to the thickness, or if you want to CNC that part, or if you just want to make it by hand. Alright, so we've talked enough about what goes into the CNC, so how am I going to format my drawing for this? Well, let's go to File. We are going to, we're just going to go to New. We're going to go to Drawing, open that up. We are going to use a custom sheet format because I want nothing on this. So our CNC, as I said, can cut 48 inches by 48 inches. So that is 1220 millimeters. Okay. There's my sheet. Okay. Stop bothering me. Sometimes it's obnoxious. So there's my sheet. I'm not sure what this box is doing here. Let's see, edit sheet format. Now got rid of the box. Don't know what happened, but my box is gone. So this is my 4x4 sheet of plywood. So for this project, you guys get 2 4x4 sheets of plywood, total of a 4x8, which is your standard piece of plywood. So I'm going to lay out some parts on here, and if I run out of space with the parts I need on here, I will jump over and I'll make a second drawing with a second 4x4, and I'll put the rest of my parts on there because you guys will have access to the full 4x8 sheet of plywood. So if I click model view, I know I need 2 bike frames. So I'm going to double click my bike frame. I'm going to look at that. You see how that's importing as a straight line? That's not the right view. Let's try a top view. There's my right view. So that's my right view. So you guys just want to make sure you're inserting the relevant faces. I don't want to see the sides. I want to see the front face, the part that's going to be cut. That's why I want cut out. So I'm going to select that again, and for this, I'm going to want a 1:1 scale. If I'm using 1:4, it's going to be way too small. So I make this up to 4 feet. There's my actual size. If I can drag this around, you will see this team did a good job of making sure that was less than 4 feet. And as you can see, I'm not going to be able to fit 2 of these on this same 4x4 sheet of plywood. So I'll make a second drawing with another one of these. Or if I'm thinking straight up, I know the team wants, they want an even number for all the parts. They want 2 of these, 2 of their fork parts, 12 are their extra thickness parts, and 3 of their internal parts. So I can just make my one thing, and we'll just run the same sheet twice for them, and that will give them the needed quantities. So I can go model view again. I'm going to take my fork, double click that, come in here. That looks like it's importing at the right size. I'll click, I'll come down, I'll use a custom scale and make sure we're using 1:1, which I think was that 1:1 before. Click that. There's my fork part. So it's pretty simple, guys. Just make sure there's nothing else on here. So I'll keep importing these so I have all the parts I want. They wanted a bunch of these things, so that looks like it's importing really big. That might be importing at like a 2:1. That also imported the wrong view. So I'm going to delete that. We'll try that again. Fork, extra thickness. Let's try front view. That looks right, but that is a huge scale. That's 4:1. We want 1:1. And sometimes this thing's just obnoxious. Don't let Buckley hear it, but I don't like SolidWorks. There we go. That's the proper size. So they need 12 of these, but this is sheet 1 out of 2. So I can Command C and V that. I'll make a second one. Command C, V, 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 V. Let's see how many that made. Grab these, move them around. 1, 2, 3. There's 6. Perfect. That's how many I wanted. Alright, come on. Alright, that was getting in the way. So when I import this into my PDF, I want to make the best use of my plywood I can. So I'm going to just move these out of the way. I'm going to put this in place as best I can. In order to make the most of that sheet, what I can do is I can actually put some of these in here. So otherwise, that would just be a scrap piece of wood. So I want to make the most use of my plywood. If I do this and make the most out of my plywood, all this extra material around here, that's for you guys. You guys can use that to build whatever you want. So I can actually fit all those in here. I have my fork part, and then honestly, while I'm at it, I might as well drop in my extra fork parts. I might as well drop in some of the stuff I was going to put on the second drawing just because I have the extra space. That way, even more of the second sheet will be open to me, and I'll be able to use it for other parts of this project. There's that. So yeah, if I were to keep going, I would import another 6 of these probably, and that would be, I'd import, actually I didn't import any of these. Let me put one of these in. These are the internal support rectangles they had, so we can drop one of those in. Custom scale, 1:1. There's a global way to change that, but I'm too lazy to do it. So this works fine to me. So there's one of the 3 of those. So I'm not going to import all the parts I need. And obviously they would have to make a second drawing, their second piece of plywood, with a second one of these, because I can't fit 2 of these on the same piece of plywood. So once I have all of these in place, if I look at this, you guys see how that is a center line. For the CNC, I don't care about the center line. So if I come to my display style, I just click wire mesh. And that's not changing what I wanted it to, because I'm just stupid. So I can actually just grab them, delete them. That works for me, because I don't care about those. The CNC only cares about the outside vectors. So once I have that done, what's going to really help us out when you guys come for your consultation appointment is if I can drop some notes in here that will let me know exactly what I want and where I want it. So this part, or this edge, this whole edge around this shape, I'm going to want this. Wow, that's a small font. Let's try 72. There we go. I want this to be, I want my router bit, if it will keep the same font size, I want my router bit to be on the outside of that line, and I want to cut through my material, which means I would be cutting 1/2 inch deep to go all the way through this piece of plywood. So that's just going to let the TA know, whoever's doing your consultation, how you want that line cut. And we should go through and do that for every line in here. So all these parts, I can drop this, change my font size so I can actually read it. This will be another outside cut through. And sometimes SolidWorks is a piece of crap. I don't like it. So I'll go through and do that for all my lines. This is an outside line, that's an outside line, that's going to be an outside line, that's going to be an outside line. This is also going to be an outside line. And all this little formatting stuff, this is covered on the CNC document. There's also a lot more stuff you can do with this. Like with the CNC, we're not limited to just these 2D vectors. I'm allowed to do other stuff. So if I grab my hole here, this is a probably 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch hole. So I'm going to want to cut this on the inside of my line. Otherwise, this hole is going to be really oversized because my 3/8 inch router bit will be cutting on the outside of this. And instead of being a 1 inch hole, I'll probably end up with like an 1.5 inch hole or something that's going to be way too big and sloppy. So I'm going to specify I'm going to cut on the inside of that. And I can either cut through, or in this case, just to show you guys some variety, I'm going to say 0.5 or let's go 1/4 inch deep. So that's just going to indicate to the TA that I want that on the inside of that line, but I don't want to cut all the way through. I just want to cut 1/4 inch deep. So I could go ahead and specify that a lot of stuff. So there's a lot of stuff I can specify in here. And when you guys actually come to your consultation, we'll go through all this with you just to make sure everything's set properly. But the CNC is not limited to this. So if I don't want this to be a cutout rectangle, if I just want this to be a pocket in my plywood or just a carved out section, I can write inside, if I change my font size, I'll write inside pocket. That lets me know I'm going to cut out all the material that's on the inside of that I can specify another 0.25 inches. That means instead of cutting this as a through rectangle, I will be cutting this as a pocket. So this whole section on my piece of plywood, I'm just essentially going to carve out 1/4 inch deep, and that'll be that. But something you got to keep in mind is this is a router. Routers use round bits. So if my red bit's coming along here, coming the inside of this pocket, and I hit this corner, my bit's round. It's not going to be able to cut this super sharp corner. So that's just something to keep in mind on your thing. So if I need a super sharp corner for something, I'm not going to be able to do that on the CNC. But when you do come to your consultation, there is a tool in VCarve that we can show you guys called a dog bone or a fillet that will make this so the bit can cut that sharp corner. What it will do is it will come in, it will cut a little extra, so it will cut out here too. And then if you have something sharp, or something with a sharp corner that needs to fit into this area, it will be able to fit in there because there's extra material removed, so that sharp corner will be able to fit. And we'll show you guys that once we come into VCarve. So here's my example. Go ahead and just import this into VCarve so you guys know what to expect. So if I come down here to my sheet, I can click export wherever it is, somewhere. Give me my export file. Come on. If you're playing along at home, tell me where the export command is. I can just do a save as because I'm not going to bother with this. I can do a PDF, bike frame, good enough. So if I do that, we can come over here to VCarve. I'm going to close out of that. I'm going to open an existing file. If I find my thing, might be in documents, might be in downloads. We'll just search for it. Bike frame. Bike frame. There we go. I can open that into VCarve. We'll go over this once you get here. But you see this, as soon as I open this in VCarve, this shows me exactly what I need. So I'll make sure my size is set right. But this will be something all the TAs are doing for you guys. Make sure my size is set right. Make sure my depth is set right. Click OK on that. then I can come in here and start modifying my vectors. So I can read this. I know I'm cutting now. I know I'm cutting a 1/2 inch through. Get rid of all these little crappy vectors I don't care about. Yep. Great. Now I just have my parts. So as you saw, if I go back to my page setup, 48, 1/2 inch thick. If you guys have a second sheet of plywood you're using, we'll go through that with you as well during your consultation time. So if I come in here, I have a lot of different options to cut this out. The most likely one we'll be using is called a profile cut. So if I cut this vector, oops, I know something. You see how this only selected this part of the vector? I'm going to want to select the rest of this because I want to cut this all in one go. If I just select that, it's not going to cut that because it has to cut a shape. So VCarve runs into an issue where actually, SolidWorks runs into this issue where you're exporting a drawing, it doesn't connect this line to this line, so all your vectors aren't connected. So in VCarve, I can fix that using this join vectors command. That'll join my vectors. So now if I select this, that's all one part. I can come to back to my profile cut, make sure my correct bit's set. I want to cut on the outside of this line, so the TA will select the outside for you. We do climb cuts, that just gives us this. We cut all the way through the plywood in one go. Cutting a little extra deep just to make sure I get all the chips out the other side. I'm gonna add tabs to your toolpath. 3D tabs means it's gonna make a ramp tab instead of a flat tab. I'll show you guys what tabs look like in a second. If I click edit tabs, I can select key spots, put tabs. This will hold my part in place on the CNC and make sure it doesn't start jumping around as the bit cuts it. Because if this part breaks free while the CNC's cut, it's gonna push this around and make a really nasty edge somewhere. So I can put the tabs on, those will hold it in place, and after it's done cutting, we'll be able to cut those out ourselves. So I can hit calculate on that. It's cutting through the material, that's fine, that's what I wanted. Let's do one more thing just to show you. I'm going to do another profile. I'm going to select this vector, I'm also going to select my hole. Might as well select my other holes while I'm at it. For these, I'm going to cut on the inside of these, otherwise I would be cutting these oversized. When I'm coming on the inside stuff, normally I like to cut conventionally. Again, I will add some tabs to this. Tab. For these ones, they're so small I don't need tabs for them. Make sure my stuff is set right. Yep. Your TA will do all this for you. It's gonna cut through the material. That's what I want. Let's do one more just for kicks, just so you guys can see what this stuff looks like and what you can do. So as I said with this in SolidWorks, if I select this, I don't have to do a profile cut. As you can see in VCarve, I have all these different options. I have profile, I have pocket, I have drill, I have quick engrave, I have inlay, I have prism, I have texturing, I have all sorts of stuff I can do. I have more engraving, I can do moldings, but profile and pocket are two different ones. So the second thing you guys may do in some of your projects is a pocket. So I said cut 1/4 inch deep, that's how far I'll cut. That's not the tool I want to be using. Let's use this tool. I'm gonna cut a offset on the inside of it. That's just directions to get cut. I'm gonna cut climb cutting, and this is my #1 pocket. So I click calculate on that. You guys can see how it makes a lot of lines there. That's the tool path. This is the path the bit's gonna follow to cut out my parts. So if I exit out of this, I can click preview tool paths. That was not the correct button. That was the correct button, I'm just stupid. I'm gonna preview all tool paths, and that's gonna show me what it's gonna look like on my plywood. So here's what it's gonna look like. There's my frame, there's the holes I selected, there's this inside cut, and here's the pocket. So if you guys can see that, I actually modeled how far deep into that plywood it would cut. So it's really interesting. But as you guys can see, it also modeled how it doesn't do a sharp corner. You see how that corner is rounded? So let me show you how it fixed that. So just keep it. This is just stuff to keep in mind when you guys are designing your bikes, and if you have any stuff that needs this geometry. So I can create fillets. I'm gonna do a normal dog bone fillet. I see this. You see how it's no selection here? It gives me a little arrow there. That means I can create a fillet there. That means it will just cut a little extra there, and it will be able to do the sharp corner. So if any sharp parts that need to fit in this, they will be able to work with this. So I can do all that. Come over to here. I can click recalculate on my toolpath. That will just recalculate what I already did. I can go back to my preview, reset the preview, preview all toolpaths. And as you can see, hopefully does not look like it did them. Oh, you know why? That's because I didn't close out of that. Alright, one more time. Recalculate toolpath. It recalculated. Preview. Preview all toolpaths. Still don't like me. Let's see what it's not liking. Probably don't like that I have this selected. Preview. No, I'm getting angry at her. Pocket. Edit. Let's see what we got. Yep. 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 Yeah. Oh, you know why it's not going in there? That's because my tool is too big to fit in there. So I changed my tool back to the default tool it had. Change it back to the 1/4 inch bit. The other 1/4 inch bit. I click calculate. Reset. Preview. Now, as you can see, it cut those dog bones for me. You see how that cut it a little extra, cut around the surface. That means any part I'd have that needed to fit into it, any part I had that needed to fit into a round hole can fit into that round hole, or square peg into a square hole, if you will. So that's it. That's pretty much all it has. So from here, I'd select all my tool paths after I made the rest of them, and I would export them to the CNC. I'd hit go, and 10-15 minutes later, your parts will be done and cut out. So again, during your consultation, the TA will go through all this VCarve work with you again. The main focus on this was just the SolidWorks part and how I'd go to make this drawing in SolidWorks. So that's all I have for you guys. I hope this is useful for you. Maybe you guys will actually watch it. So, yep.